See, it's recording. So we're recording right now. But now we need to flip your camera.
All this stuff down here. Would it be something here?
So see that arrow next to it? Go to video settings.
Can I turn this off?
Well, I wouldn't do it there. Unclick mirror my video for a second, please.
Oh, no, but just
No, that didn't do it. That's my appearance. Display names. Okay, let's close that and we'll get out of there. Let's go to view and see.
That's just how we see the screen, isn't it? How we see it all up there.
Yeah, like this is gallery view.
Which ultimately we probably want to scrunch that down anyways, but
I have to think about this for a second. Let me look at my.
So, you know, yeah,
my red bag. I'll let you walk around.
Oh, sanction. If they are not your station members. I looked at that.
So here's the sanction. They have a July. So it's actually only in the neighborhood. And then here's the sanction.
My people would travel. Yeah, because you just got it.
I have your book.
oh, okay.
Thank you so much.
You and Janet.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, Susan. Susan. You want to log in here? You want to log into yours? I almost have a feeling this thing is right that we can't put this. We thought we could.
Well, he said you could.
Yeah, people are not finding it. Yeah. So Vinny might be right on that.
My assistant principal went to Spain.
I would say if she,
What's the meeting ID?
oh, the ID, oh God, I don't know.
That was in the email.
Yeah, that was in the email.
Go back to your profile.
That was my profile. What are we talking about?
Oh, here, hold on.
That was the
Email.
yeah.
There
Okay.
should be a direct link.
Is this it right here?
Yes.
Yeah. Just click on that.
Okay, so is there a way
Right,
for us to
Cody?
flip this around?
I'm not sure. I can only find rotate 90 because I didn't think about it. I usually have it turned We did, we went in the video options, correct? That's
We
what we
did,
did, right? Choose video, choose virtual background, video settings. We went in there,
We
right?
did, we looked at all that stuff.
HD, AC recording, share screen, recording, feedback, keyboard.
I'm not going on, I'm not choosing it.
You should be able to log in under your own name, right?
Mhm. Oh, go to advanced.
Video capture method, audit. Video.
I don't think any of that flips it though, right?
Go under
Turn you
video
around.
capture
Just turn
methods.
you around.
Yeah, I mean, worst comes to
Well,
worst, we
yeah.
can't. Direction, media. Okay, it's not there. There should be something where we could rotate it partially. I'm not sure if. But what I think we're gonna have to do is just turn it around. So what we would do is just, yeah,
Turn you around.
and we'll turn you around. So you'll see everyone. You get to watch everyone that's here in your audience.
Did you guys sign in up here?
Find your cursor.
Oh,
I don't have my reading
here,
glasses, that's why.
because it no longer works.
Oh,
So now I'm on a mouse. Where are we going?
I just want to close this so that I can see Linda and make sure we're okay with this screen.
Which should be.
We're right here. I'm gonna move out of the way.
Do we want to go any higher?
I don't know if you want to go higher. I think you're pretty good with the height because I see the whole screen. The only thing you might want to do is just see me here. I think this is where Linda's going to be. So you can't see Linda. So let's move it over more this way. Do you see me yet?
Where? Not really. He's gonna be on the other side over here. I don't want to
Oh,
lose
maybe
the
I'm gonna
screen
go on the
now.
other side. No, there. No, there I am.
Turn a little bit there.
I think you can see him and
Right. Linda and
which is more important than the screen.
I would say the
screen.
screen, because as long as we can hear.
You don't need to see me. Yeah, I think the screen would be better.
Like me, hide.
There.
I mean,
okay with that.
we
I think
could
that's
do.
better. And if she wants to make a point, she just step up. from the
Yeah.
screen.
I'm not. From this place, so we move this one
Now,
on.
Susan, do you want to
Can
be
you-
turned a little?
Yeah, why don't you turn this direction? You can watch it on your computer. I
I'm
can't
not
get logged
speaking,
on.
only if Linda was.
On because I can use my personal things.
Okay, so we're recording.
Okay, so how do we make this to where I'm big screen and these guys can?
Okay, so we're gonna go here.
Okay.
And now go to these three dots. And I want you to pin. And then
Oh, okay.
that's actually pinning what's up on the screen. So you tell me what you want differently. I think that's pretty good, to be honest.
Are you good with that, Linda? We've got,
I am registered.
we've got,
And it's almost like, it's almost a little tilted. It's almost like you might want the back end of the computer up a little higher, like that. I don't know. To get the screen better, but we'll try it and see.
one wrong move and we're starting.
I had to register.
You had to register.
You know how you get this screen up here? You just
Are you on? No. But I feel like this could be, I feel like we could go seriously wrong with this. I'm still gonna have a really hard time with anybody.
I didn't change it.
Fran,
Yeah,
is everybody gonna read everything backwards?
that's what I was starting to think just a minute ago.
Oh,
Like,
it's
if
gonna be
everything could be
backwards?
backwards,
Oh, no.
Because
Because of the way we have to record it.
we're recording.
Or we
I'm
need-
trying,
we
I'm
need to
trying.
do so-
Okay, what's the road reading?
This is just backwards for you, right? Not for the people watching.
Well, that's what I'm concerned
They
about.
should be seeing it.
Well, should be their view right here. and it's not-
Susan, I
Yeah.
can see everything just fine.
Oh, okay, thank you.
It's normal, it's not
They can
backwards.
see it, it's normal for them.
It's not backwards at all. You can read it.
Is this Pam?
This is Jen Bogle.
Thank you, Jen.
It's like
You're
taking-
welcome.
Didn't comment, so
Okay.
it was Jen Vogel. She said she could say everything fine.
Everything's fine.
Yeah. Thank you,
I
Jen.
wanna be out.
You want to be
I
out?
wanna be out
Okay.
straight.
Well, then we'll get started.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see it just fine too.
Yes. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. I'm going to get started. My name is Linda Thorberg, and I'm the RTC for Region 4, but I do spend part-time in Florida, part-time in Minnesota. So I'm thrilled to be here today to help you all. Welcome to the people that came, and welcome to the people that are doing this on Zoom. So it's going to be a long day of compulsory judging. We're going to practice, ask questions whenever you want. Susan, are you going to monitor the chat? Or
Yes.
somebody? Okay.
Yes.
So I'm sure there'll be some questions in there as
I
well.
think we are. 'cause
And
that's our
it's
stop.
been a long year of getting ready for this. So we have been preparing these compulsory routines for practice
Yeah, I
judging
think we
since
are.
October. So when I went back to put things together, I couldn't even remember what we did in October. It was so long ago. But we do have things ready for you now. So this hopefully is going to get us all on the same page, which is the goal. So when we start competitions, we can actually all be in the same ballpark. So our goal today is try to be in the same ballpark with what the scores are. I'm going to start out with an overview of basically what's different in the routines from the last set that ended July 31st. So we're going to talk about some of the reasons why the coaches committee wanted things differently, so that it'll help us understand that we might have to look at things a little bit differently. And then we're going to go through levels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I did skip level 4, 5 vault because nothing is different. It's a handspring, is a handspring, is a handspring. And so I think we probably had enough practice with that, and that might be a thing for another day. But we're going to start with the overview, and then we're going to go through level 1 and 2. So we'll kind of do level 1 vault and level 2 vault, the number of barbs, beam floors, and then we'll move on to 3. And since level 3 does have some changes, especially level 3 vault, we'll judge some of those. And that probably is the largest number of athletes in the country in the DP program is level 3. So I know every meet you judge is probably going to have a lot of level 3s. In Florida here and in Region 8, you also have a lot of level 1s and 2s. Not every other region has that. In my region, we have no level 1s, and we have not very many level 2s. Most people start at 3. So everywhere is a little different, and we'll do the best we can. Another thing I just want to point out before we get started is, I know we've all tried to learn the routines, and we know, okay, this is high, this is crown. You know, little things that are wrong and different in the routine really don't mean much. So those tech stairs are not what we should focus on. We should focus on the major elements. We're all gonna miss tech stairs for a long time. Maybe by the time we get to state meets, we'll have them all down, but it's not gonna really make the difference in scores. The difference in scores is going to be the actual elements in the routine. So I'm going to get started, and please ask questions whenever you like. So this lecture is designed to help you understand what is different in the new compulsories, and we do have different ways to evaluate some things. So we have to erase some of the things in our brain that are kind of automatic when you write things down, and we have to kind of take those out and work on something new. I have a few program things that I'm just going to throw out there because not everyone reads the minutes. And my first words to everyone are make sure you go on the USA Gym website, download all the minutes from the technical committee, the joint technical and DP committee, the DP committee's own minutes, the Excel committee's minutes, and the joint Excel technical minutes. That's where everything has changed that you don't have, and there are some things that aren't in the compulsory book yet, and they'll come out in the erratas, and some are there, but that's your source document, are those minutes along with your compulsory book. How many of you are waiting for a compulsory book? They're still coming. I mean, I heard a week ago that they were supposed to be there this week, and so I hope you get it really soon. You know, you still have time, but I know you start competitions a little earlier here than a lot of other places do. So borrow a book. Also, the online materials. W316 is the course, W316 on the USAG website. That is where you can, of course, purchase and download a PDF of the whole compulsory book. You can have it on your iPad or bring it with you to meets, etc. Also, the video package and music is there. So you can't get the videos unless you go to W316. And the problem with that at this point in time is that you have to be online in order to see the videos, which isn't going to help us at a meet much. So we don't always have that luxury of having internet connection at a meet that we can look up a routine. I think they are working on that at the office too, to make something else available like we had the last time. I really loved having the compulsory routines on my iPad. So we go to the judges meeting and I go, we're judging bars, okay, we can sit there and we'd open up that level, we watch the routine, and then we talk about it and it would really get us ready. So I hope we have something like that coming up. Okay, so moving on, some things that I've included in here are things that coaches ask the judges that really maybe aren't even our job, but now that we have a new set of routines, in the past, there was a way that kids could skip a level and the coaches could decide where to put them with the new routines. Now they had discussion, the DP committee. The current process is going to stay the same. They can skip level 6 if they had a 32 all around at level 5. And that is the process we have right now, so that will stay there. So if anyone ever asks you, those are things they should refer, you should refer that question to the state committee, USAG, not us, not our judging job.
What's the score they need to give?
32 at level 5.
Okay.
To move to level 6. And I think many people had those little practice meets in the summertime on the old routines so that they were move up meets so that they could get that score to go to 6 or 7. Okay, so this is brand new. Gymnasts of all levels are now allowed to wear shorts in competition. That's in our minutes. They have to be solid black lycra. No words, no pictures, no colors, no bling, no rhinestones, no team names, no anything else but a small manufacturer's logo like GK or Nike swoosh or whatever on them. And that I don't know, every team is gonna decide if they want their kids to be allowed to wear shorts. That's an individual choice. Something that you want to be aware of is when you see a team come up and present to you maybe and two kids have shorts on and the others don't, we don't care. It's not something they all have to wear. Nobody, it's a personal choice. So those are the type of shorts that are okay. Solid black lycra, not velvet, not cotton, not anything else, solid black lycra. So that's just that. And then just for your humor, this is not what we're supposed to wear for shorts, okay? So no long ones, not below the knee, they have to be above the knee, no colors, no bagginess, no little ties, no little sequins over here, none of that. So let's just review our uniform rules since this might come into play. And as a judge, you see some wearing the wrong kind of shorts and you will let the coach know that gymnast is out of uniform. This is her warning. If she doesn't take them off before the next event, when the next event comes, she would get the 210 deduction. One time. You don't get it every event, you get it one time. So that's how that goes. It always has. But now we're going to enter this into the mix. So I don't think it's probably a big deal if they have long shorts on, you tell them to take them off, they take them off. Just like when they have all those little ankle bracelets on and stuff in the summertime, kids have to, you say, you know, you gotta take that off. Oh, but my friend made this for me. Well, you have to cut it off or take it off, and that's the way it is. So that's new. Also new is the committee, our committee decided to do away with the multiple stud earring rule where you could only have one stud earring per ear. And now you can have any stud earrings in your ear that you would like to have. If you watch the Olympics, they had all kinds of them. College, you know, that was always a big deal that we had to remind them, oh, you got 3 in there, 2 are hoops, okay. You still cannot have hoops. There's no hoops. There's no dangles. But you can look like Simone and have as many little studs in your ear as you want. So that's brand new. So it actually took one, it took away that thing that we have to look at, but now we have to look at shorts. So, and again, the attire deduction is a flat 2/10 off of their score one time. Okay, so now just as a reminder, August 1, which is already passed, we had that backless leotard rule that we put in 2 years ago. And then last year, we just kind of waived it because of COVID and everything else. So now it is in effect. So I really hope this doesn't come down to the judges again to have to be the bad guy and say, you know what, that leotard does not comply with the rules. And let's remember what the rules are for the backless leotard. If the back is lower than 2 inches below the scapula, I'll show you a picture in a minute, and wider than the midpoint of the scapula, the open area, it has to be filled with mesh or color, whatever, or it is considered backless. There's a video, a picture we had in the past. So the top leotard is fine because it doesn't have a problem there. If you can see the bottom picture, there's a little red line, a box there that shows you where the open area is allowed. Now the problem with this is like that girl in the bottom picture has really broad shoulders. She's not 7 years old, she's probably 14. So you have to look at how that looks on more than one child, because what they put on a child might look totally different on the little bitty kid versus the bigger athlete. So we do have to look at that. Now, supposedly all the leotard companies have been told that these are our rules, and GK actually helped us come up with this. So if somebody has purchased all these leotards for their athletes and they don't comply, now we have to be that person to say, you know, they aren't legal. Oh, how horrible. I don't want that to happen. So I'm really hoping that the leotard companies are working with the club owners and the people that are purchasing new leotards, which is usually every couple of years for a team, that they're making sure they do comply. And if not, then they're gonna have to try to adjust the back, fill in with mesh, and the retard company should be responsible, but that's not my fault. So that's a typo. All right, this is something brand new. Now, you know, when you go to a meet, lots of times people that are very good meet directors have all these little pre-printed sheets of timing rules so that the helpers know how to time the routine and all that. Well, those all have to be changed this year because we changed how we time falls. So this is for all levels, divisions and levels. So right now, when they fall off the apparatus, they have 45 seconds to get back on, to leave the ground. Well, we've kind of adopted what FIG is doing, and that is, let's talk about vaulting first. A girl is going to run down the runway, she vaults, and she lands on her rear end or her back or her stomach, whatever she was doing. We are not going to start timing her fall because she's getting another vault, and we're going to time the time between the two vaults. She has 45 seconds to get back up onto her feet before we, I'm sorry, we don't have 45 seconds. There's no time. When she gets back on her feet, we start timing 45 seconds. And she has 45 seconds to get to the end of the runway. And then we raise our flag for the next vault. So at that point in time, you know, they still have 30 seconds to actually run after we salute them. So the goal here is to allow an athlete that maybe tweaked her ankle or had some kind of a shakeup to get back up on her feet, take a minute, get back up on her feet, and then we'll start timing. Now, we did have a rule that they had 1 minute on vaulting if this occurred to get back to the end of the runway for her next vault. And this occurred because at JO National several years ago, I was on vault, and was the last girl in the squad. She vaulted her first vault, and she kind of crashed, and she couldn't get up, and we're waiting, and the coach goes over, and the girl's in tears, and then the trainer comes over. Now it's the last girl of the squad, and now like 3 or 4 minutes has passed. So she's done. And so the other 3 judges on my panel got up and walked to the other vault to get ready for the next squad. And I stood there, and then all of a sudden the coach comes over and says, "Can she do her next vault now?" And I go, "No, but we didn't really have a rule that said she couldn't." And so we realized we needed to have some system in place so that happens. Well, so now we've gone one step further, that we're going to allow them to recover on the ground. If she lands on her feet, we start timing, okay? But if she doesn't land feet first, if she lands on her whatever, we're going to allow her to gather herself, get back up on her feet, and start timing 45 seconds. So does this mean we need a timer on vault? Probably, or one of the judges is going to have to do it. So bring your stopwatch, just in case. So that's vault. Now we have bars and beat. Gymnast falls. In the past, they hit the ground. We start the clock, 45 seconds, and then we say 20 seconds remaining, 10 seconds remaining, and she has to get back on the uprights. Well, we are also allowing them, if they don't land on their feet, to stay on the ground as long as they need to recover. And when they stand up, we start timing the 45 seconds. Do you think this is going to affect compulsories? No, because they barely even touch their feet on the ground before they jump back there. And the chances that they don't land on their feet are kind of slim, but picture on like a level 7 or 8 that does a back handspring, misses a foot, and kind of over rotates. They land on their bottom, they might land on their back, and they might be shaken up. We're not timing. Will this make mates longer? I don't think so. But if there is somebody that is kind of rattled, it's a good safety net so that they can regroup themselves, because the coach is going to say, stay down, you know, figure out where you are, what are you going to do next. And so I don't know, but this is going to be coaches' education. They're going to have to train their kids. But I'm just letting you know, this is the new rule. So don't be alarmed if you see them staying on the ground a little longer, but if they land on their feet, time starts. So that's the new timing rule. All right, let's talk about testing, because I knew you want to ask. The compulsory exams are supposed to be available around August 15th, which is in what, 2 days? I think next week they probably will be. They're just still tweaking the process. And just to remind us all, it is the first time we have been able to offer this as an online open book test, which is wonderful. And in the world of COVID, you don't have to go to a test with a bunch of people. You can stay at home. You can do it. You know, you do have like 4 chances to pass the compulsory test, form A, B, and then the next A, B. So it shouldn't be a problem for people to pass. Just like in the past, you need to know the order of the elements, the values of the elements, the execution deductions, and the things in the gray boxes, because those are the main deductions we have. So I will cover some of those during this lecture, and then of course during each event. The test is only on level 4 or 5, it's not on 3. So that's why we need to practice 3, because we don't test on 3. And now that we have online testing, a brand new person can get their rating online at home without really knowing anything about meets or anything. So it's strongly encouraged practice judging and mentoring in our states. So keep watching, it's coming. All right, let's talk about what's different. Level 3 vault is brand new and new. So we're going to cover a couple of those things, and I'll do it during level 3 as well. So we have now taken that handspring vault that Silver is doing in Excel over a math stat and doing it at level 3. We actually had planned to do this before Excel did it, but you know, they were starting. So most things are the same as if you have judged Excel Silver. Most things are similar. And I'll talk about some of the things that are different. The thing you want to see is that they have to have a minimum of 32 inches of net. It can't go below that. And there have been questions about it because that's kind of high for those little bitty 6-year-olds. They're going to have a little trouble, but they're just going to have to run harder, and they're going to have to stay tighter to get over the max step. But that can't be lower, but there is really no height other than that. They can go higher. So other things you just want to know about. You know, the level line, the yellow line that is on the math stat, or we don't use that for levels, so you don't have to care about that. We want them to keep their head neutral throughout these compulsory routines. We're going to talk about head position all the time. So the head should be neutral. We do want them to leave the math stat quite vertical, but there is no height deduction. There's no angle of repulsion because it's a squishy neck. And they couldn't put those in because every meet you go to, that resi pit or that mat stack is firm or squishy, or we don't know what you do. So that isn't being taken, so it just seems a little weird. We do have too long in support of up to 5. So when they are on and on and on and on and then off over there, that's when we take that deduction, and we will be using that. The coach is allowed to stand between the board and the mat. And we also just had discussion about the coach being able to even kind of lean onto the mat stack. Don't worry about it. Let's just worry about the check. Spotting in any phase is 2 points. So they can like lift them up and push them over. 2 points, right? No alternative springboard is allowed at level 3, like they can at 1 and 2. So they have to use a regular springboard when they need tram, okay? And if their head contacts the mat stack, which it is going to do, those little tiny kids, it's 2 points, and that includes bedtimes of 5 kids. So those are just some snippets of level 3. There is also one other change that wasn't in the compulsory book. You have to add it unless you get the new one, it'll already be in there. Is that we forgot this deduction. It's in level 2, and we forgot to add it to level 3. which is contacting the mat stack after vertical. So, you know, they jump up and they're way over here when they actually contact the mat stack. We have up to a point for that. Because it's not doing what we want in the vault. We want them to leave it vertical. Can't leave it vertical if you don't contact the mat stack till after vertical. So we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to level 3. And feel free to take pictures of any of these slides if you want to. And there's the graphic, and that graphic is what's in the level 2 vault. So that will be added to level 3. And so, okay, moving to bars. This is a new deduction we added on bars, and you will see it lots and lots and lots. When they jump to the high bar and they do a squat on the low bar, and they kind of perch on the low bar for a while, or they stand up and they're adjusting, or they're doing this. We have up to 1 for hesitation during the jump to the high bar. So you have kids that are afraid to jump to the high bar. We have kids that adjust their grip. We have kids that stand on the bar and wave their arms. That's a different reduction, okay, for the arm circle. But this is a new top to 1. All right, this is probably one of the most important things that we want to watch and be sure about what we're deducting. This is on bars for level 4 and 5 in the counter swings. So we reworded the deductions. If you remember in the other book, there was a 3/10 deduction for flaring over the low bar, okay, with their body opening up. They're supposed to stay in this grounded hip angle position until their feet pass the low bar, right? So now, what I want you to think about, I'll show you a video, and this girl does it really well, is you have the counter swings. You have the swinging backwards on the way up. Then you have the downward swing where they tap, all right? This 3/10 deduction happens only if they're going up and they flare on the way up over the low bar. That is the dangerous part, because if they peel off, they're going to rotate forward, land on their head. So that's what the coaches want us to focus on, that 3/10 deduction is on the backward swing on the way up. And now, when they're on the way down in their hollow shape, they can flare over the low bar. On the way down, no deduction. All right, so this is a little different than maybe what we've done in the past, but I think this is always what the coaches expected. So let's watch this girl, and I'll let my videos play. She's doing it correctly. Okay, you see how she's on the backward swing on the way up, and she's still in the rounded hollow shape. That's what we want. But then now, when she goes down, she flares over the lower. Hollow, flare. Okay, let's watch it one more time. This is acceptable. This is what they can do. Okay, let's back it up. Okay, so she's going up in her hollow, she's coming down with the stretch and the flare into a tap. So she's tapping over the limit. That's allowed. Okay, not allowed on the way up, allowed on the way down. So there's one more deduction we have in the boxes about this skill. And that is when they have no shape at all, and they just swing backwards straight, swing down straight. And a lot of kids do that, especially early on. That's the 2/10 deduction because they had no shape. Okay, they didn't show us any shape at all. And I've actually seen teams that actually train them, and they train them straight to get used to swinging, but then they add the shaping later. So you have the 2/10 there. So any questions about that? Do we all feel good about it?
Yeah, so if she did straight body, you have to take 2/10 deductions for
Yes, yes, straight body is 2/10 deduction because she had no shape. what we're really thinking about here too is, I didn't even talk about amplitude or the height, because most of the children have enough amplitude to do this. They just don't have the right shape, and the shape isn't at the right time. So other questions? Did you have any questions?
The flare wouldn't be considered an arch.
Well, if it's over arch, yes, but a tap is an arch. So there's that extension and loosening to tap. I would not have a problem with that. So that is kind of new on bars, so we're gonna be looking for that. Okay.
Is that a flat too? Or a-
Yes, it's a flat tube when they had no shape at all, and it's just, yeah. So, this is also different than last time. Our tech stairs on beam and floor. We used to have up to 4 for tech stairs, now we only have up to 2. So, put that in perspective with a major element that's worth 6 tenths. Okay, so the tech stairs are minuscule compared to the deductions on the major elements. So I'm gonna talk about that next. We're gonna talk about how we record all of these errors on our papers. And then at the end, how we come up, we have up to 3 for the whole routine. So that's not much. So you'll see as we go through judging today, how many tech stairs there are that I didn't catch them all. And I don't claim to be an expert on knowing what they all are at this point in time either. But we then have to decide how much are we going to take. Are we going to take 05, or 1, or 15, or 2 for how many tech stairs she has. So this is a way that is recommended to record your errors on your paper. So when you have a posture error, repeat. Now I'm talking about things that are not major elements. On major elements, we take everything off as we see it at that time, okay? So poor posture on her split jump would be a deduction. But poor posture on other things, chasse or things that aren't major elements, is a P on your paper, okay? Footwork, F on your paper for those flat feet. Running into the leap pass when they're going heel toe, and not on the balls of their feet. Stepping flat when they could be in releve or should be, but it's not a major element. F's on the paper. Q is your artistry, quality of movement. Okay, is she looking at the floor the whole time on the floor routine? Is she like just looking very cautious and unsure? That's the Q on your paper. Okay, and these are all overall deductions you take at the end. So R is for rhythm. Now there's 2 ways to look at rhythm, several ways actually. In the book, you will not find in the general deductions like rhythm up to 3 or whatever. You don't have that. You have dynamics. That's part of your rhythm deductions. You have synchronization of movement with the musical beat on the floor. When they're way ahead of it, you know, those little bitty kids, like they get done with the routine 6 seconds faster than it's done, and they're already walking off the floor before the music is ended. And you have them behind the music. So that's part of rhythm. And then we also have the concentration pauses, but that's different. Okay? These are the rhythm errors that occur and you take it off of you. Now we have T for text. So most text errors that we find that we'll see today are wrong arm position, or her head was supposed to be looking left over her shoulder and she's looking straight ahead. Things like that. Those are little T's. A big T would be something a lot bigger, like she was just doing it the wrong way, wrong turn the wrong way, her floor pattern is off. But those are the up to 3s. Then you add them all up at the end. And then the last thing that we look at is execution, not the last, but it's on here. And of course, you take 05 to 5 tenths. Bent arms, bent legs, falls. And on major elements, you take the execution as we go, but everything else, if it's bent or stumbling, you take that execution as you go. That's a number on your table. So you have all these little letters of P and an F and a Q and an R, and then you have numbers. for the actual execution. We will do this today, so hopefully it'll get you kind of in the loop. And I do feel like you have to do what you're comfortable with. And if you're not comfortable with judging a lot at this point in time, do what you can do, and then each time try to add a little bit more so that you can go back and say, well, I took that 05 for the body posture. So that's our goal. All right. This is a big execution error that we are going to be taking a lot today, and you will see this a lot this year. And I remember before I said we focus on the head a lot. Well, you have to keep your arms by your ears all the time when you're doing slow tumbling. So on floor and on knee, you have the handstands, you have the cartwheels, you have the back walkovers, you have the back extension stepping down. We never want to see their head and a broken shoulder angle. So every time it's 05 on the way into the handstand, on the way out of the handstand. Okay. And we will see some of that. So we're going to be looking for that. So that's retraining us to what we need to see. Some things that we don't need to see anymore are levers. There are no more levering in and out of skills. That is not required. If they want to lever, they can. But what's important is that they keep their arms by their ears. Okay, so some other things that aren't there anymore. I'll put it on this one. We have no more kicks. There's no more kick. Number 4 was like kick above horizontal, lunge, lever, handstand. Well, we don't have that. What we have is choices. So the entrance into the tumbling skills on beam and floor can be from lunge or from the mountain climber, which is that little picture right there. That's the mountain climber entrance, which is like a lunge, but both knees are bent and the arms are by the ears. Her head should be down a little bit lower in this picture, but she should look like this when she goes into her handstand or her cartwheel or comes out of her back walkover. That head should be in line all the time. 05 each time. So before we had the lever, and when we had the lever, we still wanted a straight line from their hands to their feet. We still want that, but we only needed half of her body. We don't care about her legs so much. So we have that 05 every time, and we don't see that into and out, and there's no more kicks to enter the tunnel. So we'll see some video of girls that do kind of a little kick before something. That's a T on the paper for text. Small T. We'll add those up in the end. Here's an example of an 05 deduction. So this girl it was a video, and I took a picture, and she was doing a handstand. So I go, okay, well, I'll show a picture of me. She's going into the handstand here, and you see she has her head sticking out. So we have the 05. And then she stepped down, and I was going to take a picture of that. It was exactly the same. So she got 05 each time. Okay. And that is only on the slow acrobatic skills. So level 5 chooses to do a back handspring. We don't care about that. Okay, it's up for flights. Only the slow acro skills. All right, this is a deduction that we probably aren't going to see much, but we could. We have this deduction before, and in optionals, I've taken it. I've taken it in compulsory when a girl did the swing over mount, and her feet are still on the mat. That's a 310. So now we might have girls that do the front support, but they jump up to the little fish pose, and their straight leg is still on the mat. That is supplemental support. That's a 310 flat reduction. And then I would probably just really nicely let the coach know, take that out. Sometimes real tall girls that they still think they want the mat stacked in there. You don't need it. Anyway. So if their feet contact the mat while they're in support on the feet, it is a flat 3. Here's another one that we're expecting to see on all the turns on the floor that are on 1 foot. So most, well, not most, all of them are in passive. So we have a deduction deduction when their foot isn't in passe of 05. But this specific deduction is to mark the turn at the end, the completion of the turn should be marked in releve. And mark does not mean count to 3. It just means show us that you've completed the turn halfway or all the way before you step out while you're still in passe and releve. So 05, when they don't mark the turn, and we'll be taking that a lot. But let's talk about how long is marked, because Tom Cole does this, so I'm going to be Tom here for a minute. Okay, we have holds that have to happen. A hold is when you count 1 gymnastics. That's a hold. Then she can move on. A pause is if you count 1. That's a pause. A mark is when you go, whoa. Okay, and I thought, well, that makes sense, because if I think of those 3 things, it helps me realize that she did her half turn, she was there, and she moved out. I can tell she completed. So I have a really nice little picture of this girl doing very nice half turn. Wasn't that pretty? And you could tell she was pulled up. She knew where she was, and she finished the turn and then stepped up. And that is plenty long to be there. So she could even stepped out possibly a little sooner. But I could tell she knew where she was in the right position, she was in high releve, and she finished the 180. So that's the mark that we're looking for now. Beam and floor. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so now last time we had a lot of positions on beam routines that we had to do a lock. Now the lock positions are not really deductible unless they just totally leave it out. So we have up to 3 for footwork throughout the routine, all little F's that you write on your paper. You have up to 3 to take off. If they fail to show the lock position when designated, which is in releve, we add that in here to footwork. So that's in there as well. Also, if they drop flat, that's an F on your paper. If they don't show toe ball, heel steps, or turn out when they're supposed to, sickle feet, all that, they're all F's on your paper. Also, when they do the lock, I'm going to show you this picture, which this position where they do this is not really a lock. She just did the squat turn and she stands up. But a lock is when their front foot is pressed back into their back foot. That's the lock. If they don't have their legs together when it is a lock, then we have the footwork F on our paper. This is not a lock. That's really not the right picture to show you, but I just wanted to show you as a part if it was a lock. Because this girl just did the squat turn, and after that, she doesn't move her feet, she just stands up. And you can't do the squat turn with your feet off. They have to be a little bit of work. So anyway, just didn't say. So footwork. Okay, so I did talk about rhythm and dynamics already a little bit. But now those were on separate things. Now let's talk about series on beam in particular. When they have a directly connected dance series. Split jump seesaw. And they're slow. And they don't really move their feet, but they are not going boom, boom, okay? So we had an up to 2/10 deduction for series in the past when they broke it. Now we have no deduction. Okay, and when they had too much balance errors or things like that, we had up to 2. Well, now we don't have a deduction because we want these girls to learn to start connecting things. So we aren't going to be that hard on. And if you know the level 5 beam routine, it's hard. There's a lot of connections. So if we took 2/10 each time, they didn't do the leap into the jump and the split jump and then the cartwheel and the straight jump, we could have 6/10 off and they did a great routine. So what we're going to deduct now, if they totally break the series, We have 05. 05, that's it. So it's not a game changer. And let's say I broke it and you did it. Well, we're 05 apart, our scores are still fine. So we're in. So a broken series of dance major elements on B used to be 2/10, now it's 05. If she falls, we have 5 for the fall and 05 for the broken series. If she falls in between. If she gets back up after she falls and repeats the series and connects it, we don't take that 05. Because remember in compulsory, well, we should talk about it. In compulsory judging, and there's a fall, you start judging again from the point of interruption. So she did the split jump seesaw. She did the split jump, she wobbled, fell off. You took the fall. She got, and then you took the 05, and she broke it. But she got back up, and she did split jump seesaw and connected. So now all you have is the fall. You don't take the 05 because from the point of interruption was after the split jump, which remember, I don't judge that second split jump because I'm not judging that till the point of interruption. So even if she bends her legs, unless she falls again, I don't judge that until she does the connection. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, because I think that we screw that up. So then she redoes it, she connects it, fine, I just have the fall, I don't have the 05 for the broken series. So that's very different than taking that 2/10. Here's an example of a broken series, not that, flat feet. She's going to jump and adjust, wobble, bobble, stop. We took the 05 and then we had a balance it. That's watch it. She marked that she was flat. Adjustment. Okay, 05. Question.
Yeah, if you do first time and she bended knees in the third time.
Okay.
And then she fell down and then she go back to the beat and doing perfectly good connection. Do we take 2/10 for the bended in the third time?
You always
We don't
judge
take any deduction.
the first attempt. You take your execution on
Yeah.
the first one. So
We
she
take-
bent her legs on the first one, that's where you take the deduction. And then she fell or whatever. She gets back up and does it perfectly.
Yeah.
You can't erase that execution on the first skill. That's a great question.
What if she does it and then she gets back up and she bends her knees again?
Well, you're not judging until the point of interruption.
Okay.
So then you're not.
Okay.
And she might, because she might be one of those kids that just can never show you straight legs. That could happen. Great questions. Okay, moving on. So now we're gonna just talk about scales because everybody has a scale somewhere or in their best position. So just what I liked about this was I just wanted to show you that it's easy to remember. At level 1, they just have to mark at 30 degrees arabesque. They have to muh or wah. That's it. But at level 2, it's a 30 degree, but they have to hold 1 second. Lunging. At level 3, they have to hold 1 second at 45. The goal here is to remember all the holds are 1 second, except at every level on B. So I guess it's only B. So 45 degrees for level 3, horizontal for level 4, above horizontal for level 1. And they're all just a 1 second hold. So when people ask, and they might ask you about, oh, you took a reduction in scale, and I might say, well, yeah, she did hold. And they go, no, I go, we don't start counting until she stops moving. So that leg has to stop moving before I start my 1 gymnastics. So sometimes they kind of never stop. So it's only 1 second now. It used to be 2 at some levels. So that's a little easier as well. We're looking for the nice body line without the chest dropping low and that leg nice and straight. That's it for scales. Now we have the same thing with leaps. So just to review, at level 3, they only needed 90 degrees. And that's a difference. So it's not much. But the big thing we want to see in leaps are even legs in the air, not the rocking horse type position in the air. And at level 4, it's 120. And at level 5, it's 150. So those are just the aims. And then we have height, we have body position, we have uneven legs, and then of course you have bent or flexed or whatever. But all those things come into play on the leaps. And I think even a girl that has a really great beam routine usually still has deductions on leap. And so unless she can really get up there and open her legs nicely, there's probably some kind of a deduction on the leap as well as height. So those are our leaps. Okay, back to rhythm and dynamics, which I did talk about briefly, but this is the specific rhythm deduction that we take whenever it occurs. The others are added up and taken at the end. So we have those concentration pauses, and you know we've had those for a year or two now. So if she's stopping before she does her cartwheel or her back walk or her handstand, and we can count 1 gymnastics, 2 gymnastics, and she's still not moving, we have that flat 1/10 reduction for concentration pause. You can write an R on your paper, you can write CP for concentration pause. And if it's more than that, then we have the flat 2/10. This will happen. Then we also will have the concentration pauses when the little girls forget their routine. And you know that's going to happen. And it usually happens whenever they like the beam this way and they turn around and now they go blank and they can't remember anything. And so I just hope that they just tell them what to do so that they feel confident and keep going. Or this is a good time to talk about this. Whenever we have the coaching deduction, that the coach cannot tell the athlete what to do, but they can stand at the end of the beam and say, here, okay, turn. And they can mimic it. That's not a deduction. It's not talking. And so if they do say, do the half turn, we automatically take the deduction for coaching. But if it's something lesser than a specific command, it's a warning. And then we take it on the next person that the coach does something for. But right now, the concentration pauses are when they wait too long to begin whatever that next skill is. All right, back to leaps. We know what angle they have to have, but now we have this deduction that went up to 2 ticks, up to 2.
Linda, we have a question.
Yes.
When you're mimicking the gymnast, not speaking, if you are mimicking it, is that the warning?
No,
That's not the warning.
as long as we're not talking,
Got it.
you can walk, you can stand at the end of the beam, do the whole routine. I've seen a lot of little 1s and 2s that the coach is standing right there doing the routine, or mom, I don't know. And that's okay. If you need to do that, that's fine. Because, okay, how great is that routine going to be? She's not even looking at the beam. She's probably looking at her mother in the stands. Or you do see them where they're just kind of like glaring either at us or at their coach. And they're supposed to be looking at the end of the beam. So, you know, give them a little help. No problem. Uneven legs in leaps and jumps. So you have that rocking horse when you don't see them at the peak of their leap with their legs even in the air up to 2. So that's big. That's a big one. That went up. It's one of the only ones that went up in deduction. So we want to be a little more critical of the leap positions in the air. And like I said, I think the even great beam routine probably still has a leap deduction. They're not easy. Okay, here's just a picture of a kind of uneven leap. That's what we have a little deduction, 0501 for uneven legs. Now she probably has some nice height. Her body posture is pretty good. She's not leaning over, but she would have the uneven legs, not 2, maybe 05. Okay, Okay, now we're gonna move the floor and talk about a couple things in the acro passes, because this is gonna come up. Remember back in the day when we, not this last cycle, but the one before, where we had to count every extra step they took into their tumbling, because they were allowed 3, and they took 6, so we took off 3 tenths. They had a great routine, but they ran too far, and so instead of a 9.5, she had a 9.1 because we took off all those extra running steps. Well, now there are specific places where you can run extra or not. And if they do more steps than are allowed, it's a flat 0.5, no matter how many extra steps they take. So when you can take extra steps, 2 places. One, if they're a level 5 and they want to choose to do a front tuck as their acro skill, they can run how far they want. The back pass, the last pass in the tumbling runs, they can run as far as they want. But in the front passes, they're allowed step, hurdle, go. That's it. If they run more than that in the front passes, it's over. So now, this includes the aerials at level 5. So at level 5, they can choose between the front tuck, where they can run and punch, or a front aerial or a side. If they choose the front or side aerial, they get step, hurdle, aerial. That's it. If they do more than that, they get the full. Okay. The front tumbling passes on floor where they do the front handspring step out into the next front of whatever, they get step, hurdle. That's it. Okay. So we'll look at a couple of those right now. Here's my video. All right, let's watch that again. So she's going to choose step, hurdle, front aerial, level 1. Okay, counter steps one more time. Step, hurdle, aerial. That's what she gets. Okay, whether it's a aerial cartwheel or front aerial. She chooses the front tuck, which I don't have a video of. Then she could go run, punch if she wants to. But the problem is she's going to run out of floor if she runs very far, and she's not going to be on the music. So that's a problem. Okay, so now this is a front pass, and this is the same thing. They get, this is a level 4, I believe. She's going to do the step, hurdle, front handspring, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's what they get for that pass. More than that, over. Extension, we'll talk about this later. Okay, so now that's what they get for the front stuff, and now here's the back pass. So the back pass, this is a level 5. Run, hurdle. Don't care. Run as far as you want, do whatever you need to do, don't do back. Okay, so there's just a difference in how we're looking at their tumbling passes. We'll open on that tuck shape. I'm sure we'll have a reduction, but that's a different story. Okay, so now, like one more big concept that has changed that we just want to be clear on, because we wouldn't be that way if I didn't say this. The front handsprings on the floor for level 4 and 5, we have some different ways to look at it. Alternate staggered hand placement up to 1, okay, we'll do it. But what the developmental committee wanted was this front pass to be fast and move linear as quick as possible. So in the past, when we had front handspring step outs and front handspring rebounds, whatever, we wanted a block and we wanted height and amplitude. We don't want that anymore at all. So now look at, it says performing a fast front walk, which was a 6'10" element. now is no question. So when we look at that first front pass, what are we gonna look for? We're gonna look for quickness off the hands, continuation into the next one really quick, and moving fast across the floor. And of course, you might have been arms or bent legs, but that's the goal. It's not block. So we aren't looking for any kind of block. Oh, I gotta stop this a second. So that was weird because it was a real different change when you see these, and they're calling them front handspring step outs. They're running front walkers, and that's what we want. And we even are allowing them to have kind of a flange over with their shoulders into it. And of course, they've still got to come out, you know, like this into the next thing, but we want them getting into the next thing as fast as possible. So that's a very different way to look at something other than you should get a front hand for a walkover instead of front handspring, and we took off the wrong elements of hands. So now it's nothing. So that's different. Okay, what we're going to see right now is a floor routine. Just for your enjoyment. Oh, she's doing the last pass. Okay, or the front pass. Okay, fast front walkovers. Fast front walkover into the carpet. Let's see what I'm doing. Step hurdle, quick, and she was a little archy still, but and that could even have more acceleration. That's how we're looking at these now. So that's just different. And now let's see, let's move on to this. Okay, so now this is the end of this particular like update, but I'm going to show you because maybe some of us haven't even seen videos of all these routines. And if you attended the workshops, you saw live kids doing them, but the videos aren't out there unless you bought W316. This is a video, and I'm going to show you level 5 beam and I maybe floor. And these are the girls that actually were on the films, but they were outtakes. So you're going to hear Tom Cole talking during it, but then maybe you'll find some humor in whatever he's saying. Let's see, there's level 5 beam. Good mark, a little off on the pencil. Has everyone seen this before? Have you seen one, or is this like for you? I mean, I like to start with one that you could say, oh, that's what it's supposed to look like before we start tearing apart ones that maybe have some errors. And now we're going to look at floor. Yeah, what do you like? So there, okay, so that's our like overview. So I hope you got some things to think about already for the day. We're gonna take like 5 minutes and then I'm gonna get ready to jump into level 22. So take a little break and I'll regroup my computer.
Well, I don't know if they have a working one. Isn't that what, that's one of the goals, if they can do anything about that dance, I doubt if they can. I don't know, most of them say that today only works.
I think we just started to make it cold in here at first because the AC takes a while to take.
Was it logging slow on room here?
It's loud.
People just have any, we've gotten some comments back that the camera is a little bit slow. The videos are running a little bit slow, but everybody's complaint.
Yeah, I think that's just.
Yeah. That's,
And when there's more than like.
I'll be back in about an hour.
okay.
Yeah.
You could bring us lunch.
Good to see you.
I'm surprised that she showed up. So many people opted.
Well,
I think we're recording, so.
I love you all.
That was from Kelly.
There was no way.
I kind of thought about that. I wonder if it was a Monday case.
And then I brought this too, so we could send it.
No problem. You know what, Kelly, we'll find some time
Well, there's another one right
to
in
get
there.
to look at that. Okay?
Over there, you can see the drinking fountain. It's right on the left.
And then I can give you these,
So is that this one?
A little bit of a drag.
Oh, it's always like that. There's always a little delay.
That's all I told them, there's not much we can do. I know, right? This is not my phone. Oh, here it is, right here. It's like, wait a minute. Right there. Oh, you're doing a fabulous job with that.
Well, good. I hope it's entertaining.
It
It's
is
gonna be by
entertaining.
this afternoon. Is really.
You know what? I have a nice little handle, brand new,
That's
So
true.
this is,
It's perfect. Yeah, and so, we're all starting at the beginning of it now, so. New routines, new stuff. different way to look at it.
When we start judging, I'm gonna move off to the side here.
Oh, I don't believe it. Is that? like-
Because I'm watching drag. Well, no, I was watching on mine.
Oh,
Well, we were checking to make sure.
yeah, but then tell me if I make mistakes. That could happen.
That's wrong, Linda. Oh, no, Linda, don't take that.
How many are on Zoom?
60.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I really scroll.
Yeah. This is for you.
It's documented. Sorry, I took your bag.
Oh, I know, right?
I thought it was cattle vodka.
When Mark said he wasn't coming. I think we're still recording. Okay, I'm gonna make an announcement. Hey, guys, can you hear me? Wait for somebody to say.
Yes, this is good. Yes, I can hear you, Susan.
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to make a really quick announcement. I know you can only see part of my head. You're going to have to divide this Zoom into two separate Zoom meetings. And so this one will continue on up to lunch. And then after lunch, there will be another link to sign into the next Zoom meeting, which will cover the afternoon. So we can get all the recording, try to get everything done, condensed and send it to you. So what I'm going to do in the next little bit is everybody that's on here, I'm going to send you guys the link to the afternoon meeting, and you will have to connect with the new Zoom, okay?
Yep.
Okay.
And if you're on here and you don't get it, then just email me and I will send it to you. All right, thanks, guys.
Got it. Thank
Have any
you.
questions? Chat.
Oh. I'm thinking that. That's probably-
Or maybe just. Linda, is Brant still here?
No, he ran out. He'll be back.
Oh, yeah, he was gonna deliver pizza to his relatives, right?
Yeah. I know, yeah, but
No,
he's gotta
I think
drive
it's
my
just,
car,
I think
which is
it's just
a
showing
crap.
that you're.
Yeah, but I'm the driver in this week.
Oh,
And yesterday we came from St. Petersburg and I thought, well, we might need to leave a little early because of the weather and you didn't know what the storms were gonna be like. It's the night before the storms were like, whoa, and the lightning, it's crazy. But we didn't really have a problem other than traffic, so that was okay. But yeah, we got here earlier than I thought, which was good because Evelyn made us dinner, which was wonderful.
that was nice.
And yeah, and going back tomorrow will be interesting, I'm sure.
Yeah, it might be. I hope it's good for everybody.
Yeah.
Well, even on a good day,
You're gonna get rain no
that
matter
trip
what.
is
Yeah.
not good.
No, it's not. The last time we were here, maybe 3 years ago or something, and he was gonna fly out of Tampa. And we got plenty of time to drive from here to Tampa Airport. But, nah, I missed it. What, the traffic was the reason. But that's what we do.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're gonna get started with level 1 and 2. Level 1 vault, we start with, then we'll do level 2 vault, then we'll go to bars, and we'll continue on. So just a quick review of what is that level 1 vault. It is the stretch jump onto 16 inches of mat. And then they do the handstand to the flat. So each part is worth 5 points, sorry. But I don't judge it that way. I don't judge 5 points and take off the first part and 5 points the second part. You can do whatever you want. I just say, oh, it's worth a 10, and I just take my deductions from 10. So you can add each part together if you want to. I think that's way too slow and way too confusing. So just to let us know that each of those parts is worth 5 points. So we're looking for a nice aggressive run, because we do have run deductions at level 1, and up to 3 for not maintaining horizontal run speed. Leaning forward onto the springboard is, these are basics of gymnastics. That's what we're evaluating here. They run onto the board and then step up onto the mat stack. Yeah, you can't do that. That's 5 points off for that part. So it's a void part. The stretch jump, we want amplitude, straight, tight body, head in line. And then when they do the handstand, lots of times they miss it and they have to do an extra kick up to the handstand. That's 5 tenths. And if the coach spots them, we have 2 points. So all of these are just on the sheets. They're there. And let me just give you a disclaimer about all the video that I'm going to show you today. These videos for every level, you're going to see the same girl at multiple different levels doing different things. And they're not level 1s or 2s or 3s or 4s or 5s. They're probably level 8s or 9s doing some of this stuff because they were taught we needed to get people that could do the routine so we could start filming. And that was last summer. So these were all filmed a year ago. So the kids are way better than probably what we're going to see first time out in competition. And they're older. So, you know, level 1s are probably 6 years old. So we're going to see little kids that everything is bent and they have no speed and they, you know, are kind of pudgy, cute little ones that forget what to do. So we're going to do our best, but we're going to have some deductions that we can also talk about. And my goal for today all the way through is to try to put us in the right range. You don't have to bingo what score our committee came up with, but if you can recognize that, oh, okay, yeah, now I see what they were looking at and I'm close. That's perfect. So we're gonna get going. First girl, level 1 vault. We're gonna watch it twice. And then I might even have it in slow. No, I don't have it in slow, but I can slow it down. Here she goes.
Level 1 vault, clip 1.
Okay. Recognize a few things and we'll watch it again and then we'll talk about it.
Level 1 vault, clip 1. Level
Okay. First thing up is we're looking at her run. We took off 1 to 2 for the acceleration of her run. So let's watch her. It's not gonna go slow. And then we're going to watch her body posture. Oops, missed it. Right there, hitting the board. It's not bad. It's pretty good. And obviously this girl isn't a level 1, but look at her lack of tightness in the air. And then she had a stumble bumble there when she landed. We had 2 on height. We had body posture, 10th and a half. The landing, 1 to 2. And now the handstand, we had a little arm bend. We had kicking up a little late, joining the legs. All this happens really super fast, so you're not always going to see it. We had some dynamics of up to 1, and that would be on the first part. And the fall to her back with the kind of loose legs. Look at her again, the regular.
level 1 vault, clip 1.
We still had an 8-9 for a score. Head is not covered when she kicks up. So, okay, was it horrible? No. Was it messy? Yes. Was it tight? No. But she still performed it all, and we're still in a high 8 or even a 9.
Level 1.
Let's try another. We're going to do several. And if we like just spent a lot of time on each level, we would never get through everything. So I want to make sure we get to level 5 more at the end of the day. So let's look at this girl and see if it compares to the one we just saw. That would be our goal.
Level 1 vault, clip 2.
Okay, right off the bat, better or worse? Way better, a lot better. Okay, let's watch her again in regular.
Level 1 vault, clip 2.
Better run. We still took 1 for the acceleration or maintaining that horizontal speed. We had 1 on height on the jump. We had one on body position, 05 dynamics, she was a 955. So I think that shows a really good. And you know, at level one, a lot of these kids are gonna tighten up and get high scores. But this one we felt like was like mid to higher 9. So one more time to get our range. The one before was 8-9. This one was 955. So difference right here, tightness, had her arms covering her ears, tighter as she fell and landed, got to vertical, not joined after vertical. So we had a bigger range. Questions whenever you have them. Let's see. Yes. Okay, let me stop this. What?
Kind of a short run. How do you take?
Yeah, well, they can run as little or long as they want. So, but they have to accelerate the run. So even if they run 4 steps, if it's building speed while it's going, that's what we'd like to see. That was a good question. Yes.
She learned that her legs was off the mat. There is no deduction field, legs was over.
Off the mat, that's not a deduction as long as she can stay tight. You know, for bent her legs, we would take off. But I bet they could put another mat behind her, but we can't penalize her that she ran out of mat. She could have stepped backwards, which is not a deduction, you know, to do the handstand fall, because she needed more room. So she could have done that, but she didn't, I don't think. Let's look at her one more time. She was our biggest score. Okay, I think she was as tight as she could be. Okay, so let's see one more question.
She's also allowed to step back on.
Yes.
Forward.
Yes, she is. Yes, to kick up to the handstand. And she might have to do that. So, you know, if it was me and I was at a meet and I was coaching, I would try to pile more mats there at the end so she didn't have to worry about that. But they need to be coached to back up if you think you need more. But I like how she kept her arms by her ears, kicking into the handstand and stretched tall. Okay, let's see one more.
Level 1 vault, flip 3.
Watch her again.
Level 1 vault, flip 3.
Okay, same thing, she ran out of room. Choppy run, okay, so we had 0.15 on her run. We had a body posture of 1/10 and a half. We had up to 2 in height. She was kind of loose. Dynamics of 1/10, but this girl, well, let's just have a poll. We've seen 3. Where would you rank this one? 1, 2, or 3?
2.
2, exactly. So we were like a 9-3. So it was still a good score. She obviously could do a whole lot more, but she was told to do this. A lot of the video we're using, the girls were told to like skip something or miss this or fall there or something. So we would have the practice of learning how to deal with like her choppy run. I'm sure that's not how she normally would run.
Level 1 vault, flip 3.
Oh, that's right. Never mind. Okay, so we're gonna see one more of these, and then we'll compare one more time.
Level 1 vault, flip 8.
Oh. Well. So that was different, wasn't it? Let's watch her again. You thought it was gonna be pretty good, but then something happened.
Level 1 vault, flip 8.
Okay, so it's not supposed to look like that, and she was loose and wiggly and that tight and landed in a bridge and then fell down flat. Our score range for her was 7.9 to an 8.2. So we got a lot farther away from the 9.3 and the 9.55 and the 8.9. But we had height, we had the run, we had 5/10 on the arch, we had feet, we had dynamics of 2. You can get it done. So that girl wasn't going to win today, so she would have come in fourth with no medal. Okay, no medal, and she would get another vault. That's true. So her second vault.
What did you
might
have as a score?
7.9 to an 8.2 was our
Okay, thank
range. Okay. All right, I'm skipping this one. Okay, wait a minute. Wait. Oh, we're gonna go talk about level 2 because there's not a lot different. Okay. So just this is a sampling of what we're going to be looking for. I think we're going to also see a lot of little girls at level 1 that are going to fall down on the straight jump. So you're going to have that. And you're going to have a lot of bent legs. They're going to be rushing forward. So we just don't have that video yet. And I think if we get into the gyms in the next month, we're going to probably see a lot of another variety. I just wanted to show you a top end and kind of one with a lot of issues, which was landing the bridge. So level 2, we're going to do the handspring. Oh, that's not it. This is it. We're going to do the handspring now onto the mat stack. So we do have the line, the yellow line to look at. We want to see that their hands land within it. On it is okay, over it is not. And we're going to see, oh yeah, a little variety pack there too. Body posture, keep on running. Let me get my level 2 thing here. We still have our run deductions, which at level 3 then we don't take. We have dynamics there that we can apply for the slowness of the vault. But here we still can evaluate the run, the board contact, and that. So let's take a look here and just see what she looks like first. Then we'll go back and judge her. And now it's not the girl standing there with the papers. There's another vault that this little girl's gonna pass that. So you needed to kind of get your eye ready to see what it is she's gonna do. All right, so here's our vault. Take some notes.
Vault number 1. Okay.
Okay, write down a few things. And then we'll watch her again. All right, so hopefully you saw the body position throughout the whole thing had that pike in every phase. So we had a 1, it wasn't like the 5/10 pike, it was there, but it was in each phase. And we had a little bit on the run, we had some dynamics, and it was mostly body posture. And then when she landed, you know, she wasn't tight and in control there. So let's watch one more.
Level 2 vault.
We'll get tired of her voice.
Okay.
Oh, shoot, that didn't work. Okay.
Number 1.
Just trying to
Okay.
stop it. Now maybe I can make this. See how she's kind of leaning forward. Okay, we have the body posture here. Head is out a little bit. We've got that pike. Still got the pike. And now when she comes down, it's not a flat fall, it's crooked. So we had body posture there as well. And the dynamics. So our score range was 9.1 to 9.2. Yay! If you're within 5/10, you're awesome. Okay, we're good. All right, let's find another one. And let's see this girl and compare. I like to always compare 1 to 2. So now she's gonna run by that yellow mat, so you kind of see where she is now. Not the
Level
best
2,
angle.
vault, clip 4.
Did that look weird with that table in the way? Let's look at her again. That was like, wait a minute, she can't do, oh, she's not. All right, we'll watch her again.
Level 2, vault, clip 4.
Okay, ballpark, better than the first or worse? Better, tighter, still a little body posture in there. We had 1 to 1.5 on body posture. We had 1 on each phase, or like here and there. We had some dynamics, but other than that, it was very good. And we were at a 9.45 to a 9.5. So we liked her better. Let's watch her one more time.
Level 2, vault, clip 4.
Right? Just a little loose. Yes.
You wouldn't take anything on that run, would you?
No, I didn't. We had nothing on her run. And you know, just an interesting comment, because I'm from Region 4 and not everybody does 1s or 2s there, hardly anybody, nobody does 1s yet. But, okay, take this little girl, assuming she really was a level 2. By the time she got to level 4, she's gonna be a rock star on that vault. And so when you see the kids that are learning this at early stages, by the time they move up the level, they're going to be really good because they understand the tightness and the run and the speed and the block and all that. So it's to their advantage, which I have noticed, because when I would come down here and if I judge down here, I'd say, wow, gosh, the scores are really kind of high. It's because they start at 1. And by the time they get to 3 even, they know what they're doing and they're really good and they're tight and they run fast. There's some like real professional compulsory kids in the state that are awesome. And it's because they start young, and by the time they get up to level 4, like they are almost perfect in a lot of things. So it's fun to see that. And we don't have that everywhere. So, okay, so that girl was 9.55. Let's look at another one like this girl. And then I think we'll go to bars. If we have time at the end of the day, we can always go back and see something else, but I'm just a little worried that last weekend I did a clinic in Minnesota and it was levels 3, 4, 5, and we could hardly get through all that without 1 and 2. So we're gonna do our best. New girl.
Level 2, vault, clip 5. Okay.
Reality.
Salute.
Okay, reality set in. Now judge this one because she's coming again.
Level 2, vault, clip 5. Okay. Salute.
Okay, that was a lot more like what we might see in the first meet. So problems she had started with her run. It wasn't aggressive enough. She had some hiking coming on. Her head was out. Her hands went over the line, which is 5/10. So we had that. Plus we had body posture. Head is out again. We had the arch coming over. Dynamics lacking. So score range, watch her again.
Level 2, vault, clip 5.
To kind of think
Okay.
what range this should be in. 8.2 to 8.4. Okay, so lower down there at 8. You know, you could add a 7.9, you could add an 8.5, would still be in range. The range is a beautiful thing, but she by far was quite a bit worse than our first girl or the second girl.
Can we talk about the line for a moment?
The what?
The line.
The line, yes.
Yeah, and because I've always understood that if you went past the line, you went past the line, whether it's fingertips or whole hand.
Correct.
And recently someone said, no, you had to have a whole hand pass. And I'm looking at it thinking,
Let's look at the
if you step out of bounds on the floor, if it's a heel, a toe, a whole foot.
Right, it's out. Yes, I agree. Well, my answer is that it is over. You know, if you're over,
Is over.
you're over. If you're on, you're fine. If you're over both hands beyond the tape line, 5/10 flat. Beyond means this far beyond or this far beyond.
It's still beyond.
Exactly.
That's the question.
Yeah.
Let's say the palm is on the line, but fingers are over the line.
Over.
It's
Over.
over.
Yeah, like this girl. Let's look at her
But
again.
it has been told, said that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we were told totally over. It's been a big discussion here in
Oh,
Florida.
that's a good question. Well, okay, this is what we're gonna do here. I'm
But I
gonna,
do agree with Susan in that if you step over the
She's
line.
over.
Any part of your body.
right, yeah, exactly. If you think about it as a floor out of bounds.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's your big toe, if we see it, you're out. So I have always thought hands over, it's the flat 5, regardless.
You got two technical about it. You could say, well, part of my palm was touching the yellow line, so I'm okay.
No,
So
no.
you can technical that to death and say, well, no, and, you know.
Okay, we have the flat 2 staggered hands, one inside, one over, flat 2/10. But here, both hands land beyond the tape line, and that would be, here's the tape line, I'm over. So that is
Will you guys
my
put that out in writing, please?
interpretation. I will be the first thing I write down
Thank you.
just to double check. And what I'll do is I'll email you, Susan, just to clarify, to make sure we're all starting. on
That would
the
be
same
great.
page.
That would be great.
I have a question. So I'm using, and I know someone said, can you write it down? I'm trying to like look at my chart as I'm watching these videos and trying to find each deduction. Do you have them written down somewhere, like for these specific videos that you're showing us of what
Do you have a
exactly
script?
took off?
My script is only what the technical committee did, which isn't published at this point in time. So I can't give that to you right now, but there are, I mean, this may come out, the goal was to create these videos so that we could put out a practice judging program with script, and that may be coming. We're just not there yet. Good
Who is
question.
this speaking?
Marissa?
Okay, she's running.
Good question.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so I think what we're going to do is, let's see if we can do one more level 2 vault, and then we're going to move on to bars. All right, here's a new girl. Let's watch her first, and we'll judge her.
Flip 6.
Few distractions in the gym. That is another very typical vault that we will see a lot. So let's judge her now and compare her.
Level 2 vault, flip 6.
That was a great example of the 5-10 pike coming on. So that was a good one to remember. She also had run deductions of acceleration and the horizontal speed. She had height, her head was out. We had a pipe coming down. We had dynamics. Let's watch her one more time.
Level 2 vault.
Stop her so you can see. Okay. Head is out. Shoulder angle. 5/10 pike, that's 90 degrees. Stayed in the pike, came down loose and sloppy, and then lacking dynamics. So our score range for her was 8.35, 8.2 to 8. Well, actually, somebody had 7.95. More like a 8.3, 8.35 was our average score. When the committee does these routines, we will all judge since October, and we will take the average of all of ours, which is usually kind of take out a high and a low and merge the middles to kind of find where is our range for what we think it should be. So this one was maybe a tiny bit better than the girl that went before, but she had a 5/10 deduction for her hands over the line. So our whole committee took the 5/10 for the hands over the line. So that pretty much tells me that is the rule. But I'm going to clarify that so Susan can put it out in writing to everyone, because not everyone's here. Okay, so let's go to bars. Way. Some bar routines. Okay, level 1 bars is not very long. You got the pullover, you got a cast that just has to leave the bar, you have a back hip circle, an under swing, or a cast straddle soles. So it's very quick. So probably there'll be girls that can get very high scores on this. Let's see what we have. We're looking for the pullover to arrive in the front support with the arms straight and the body tight, not the legs dangling. Okay, those would be, if you want to call them rhythm errors, but control errors. The cast, we want a straight hollow body, not a piped body, stretched body, leaving the bar with straight arms. And then the back hip circle, of course, with flat hips. So they shouldn't kick around the bar. Their arms should be straight. And a lot of times we have the body posture errors on the back hip circle and the arms bending. And then the underswing, they shouldn't just be dropping their hips right away. They should be falling backwards with their shoulders, not so much their hips at the beginning. And then we're going to just take our execution as we go. So we have our bent arms, bent legs, and lack of dynamics and steps on the landing, amplitude on the dismount, and just throwing out things that could occur. So here we go. First bar routine. You'll probably see it a couple times.
Bars, level 1, click 1. Salute.
Okay, let's watch her again because it goes by really quick.
Bars, level 1, click 1.
And slow this down for us. So her hip pullover. Worked the way I wanted it to. She didn't quite maintain the tightness when she finished the pullover. See her legs kind of dangling there. So we had a tip for the looseness. And we also had a little arm bend in. But now she's going to do the cast, which was actually quite nice. Nice stretched. And her hips were fairly flat throughout the back hip circle, but she had a little arm bend on the way up. We had her one. Her legs were a little bit apart. She's out of control right here. You see that? Now she, if she wanted.
I don't know, I was looking at this. Well, the buzzer just buzzed.
On right away. So we have an extra spring
I think should be off.
into that soul circle, which you didn't see very well.
Tell them the time's up.
Circle. See how her feet just shot off? It didn't go up. Her hips should be rising up to the high bar. She had a 2/10 step. Big one. A little bit on shape. Was it a great routine? No, but it was still a 9-0. So it was still good. There just isn't enough in it to get the scores super low unless they fall. Let's watch her in regular one more time.
Bars, level 1, clip 1.
Okay, notice how her legs did not stay tight there. Cast was good. Hip circle, out of control, extra swing into the big 210 hop and the lack of height. So are we in the ballpark? Kind of. I think that was a good one to start with. Let's go to another. All right, new girl, different problems.
Bars, level 1, clip 6.
Okay, she had different airs. All right, so let's watch her again, see where they are and how much we
Bars,
take.
level 1, clip 6.
Bent legs, feet apart, arms bent, lack of control on top. So we have at least 3 on the mount. Extra swing, 3/10. Body posture for cast. Let's get back to a cast. Back hip circle, she's piking around the bar. She's got bent legs and flexed feet. So we have a couple there. And her arms are bent right there. Knees are loose. So we have probably 4 in the back hip circle. Her head is kind of out now. She's going to underswing and her head went back. It's supposed to stay in line. And she still needed amplitude. Okay, so we're down in the lower 8s, the knees. And then did she step? Is the question. Not really, no, she didn't step. So ballpark, lower 8, not a 9. She had a lot more looseness throughout the routine. Now, let me just throw this out there, especially if you're a newer judge. You aren't going to be able to write down while she's doing the bar routine. Her head was out, her legs were bent, she was loose, her arms are bent, blah, blah, blah. You're not going to be able to write down. You're going to have to say it was about a 4/10. You know, you have to lump things sometimes because on beam is different because you have time to write down individual things. But on bars, if you try to write all that, you miss the whole rest of the routine. So you have to get used to kind of looking at that and saying, it's about 4, like on her mount. So
Can you make your own code?
What?
Little quick code?
Yes, yeah. Use your symbols and use whatever you do, dots or dashes or checks or things that you can recognize yourself. So you can go back and maybe you don't write down any numbers. You go back and write in the numbers of the deductions. If it's an extra swing, just make an X and go back. You can go put in the 3/10 later. So you find ways to get quicker. When we get to level 5 bars, you'll appreciate that because it goes by so quick. There's so much to write in the first half of the level 5 bar routine. It's real easy to miss stuff. So that girl was 8.4 to 8.5. So question.
At the beginning of hers, before the pullover, she kind of jumbles her, like,
Yeah.
that's the, okay.
Yeah, she did. All right. Let's watch. Oh, let's see another girl. Let's see. This is number 3. Okay. All right. This will be interesting. Let's watch this one. We'll watch it first, then we'll judge it next.
Ours level 1, clip 7.
Okay. All right. Now you know what's coming. Now write some numbers on your paper.
Ours level 1, clip 7.
That would make good conversation. Okay, just a question, like I always like to keep ranking in my head, where does this one fall in? So obviously it was worse than the one we saw before, mostly because all the bent legs and the dismount. But you know, how much worse? It has to be a good half a tenth worse. I mean, half a point, like, or even a little more. So we were down in the 7s on this girl. So around a 7.5 to a 7.7. So thinking about the errors she had, let's watch her again and we can talk through.
Ours level 1, clip 7.
Try. Okay. We did have loose legs right away and body posture. See how her knees and her elbows are now bent and we should be straight by now. Then we have this cast, which had 2/10 leg bends. And then she piked and bent around the body. So you have 2 deductions there. You have the bent legs and the pike body. Then she comes up with her legs still bent and she falls into her dismount. So this is a conversation starter because did she begin the underswing dismount? Yes. Did she complete it the way it should be? No. You could call it a fall, which we took 5 there, plus 3/10 for amplitude and body posture. So did she, yes, she did try the dismount. Did she complete it the way it was supposed to be? Not really. So I think you're going to end up with at least 8/10 on the dismount. Okay, because it was like a dump off. Plus your dynamics, it was not a swing full routine. We took 2 in dynamics. So we were down 7.5 to 7.7. I didn't think it was appropriate to take off the value of the element because she initiated the dismount. She did half of it. So you could have said, I took off out of the 6/10 element 3 for not completing it, plus the way she landed, we figured it was like a fall. So you could have done some different things there, but I think you're going to end up with around 8/10 off. Do you have a question?
So for the leg bent, so it says 0.3.
Up to 3.
Up to 3. So if one leg is a little bent.
Here's your leg bend. That's a good question. She asked about leg bends up to 3. So 90 degrees is 3/10 when they're bent 90 degrees. So it doesn't matter if it's 1 leg or 2 leg. You only take it off 1 time. And if it's 90, it's 3. If it's less, it's 2. We took 2 on that girl. It wasn't quite 90, but you know, she bent more than 1 time. So you're going to have to look at that. And I know when you study to take the test, you always study the maximums. But when you actually judge, you have to stop yourself and say, okay, I know it's up to 3. Is that the worst it could be? Well, the worst it could be, same thing for armbands, 3/10, 90 degrees. Is that the worst it could be? And that's your 3. Okay, it could be worse than this. It could be like this, but it's still 3. Okay. And less than that is 2, 1, 5, 1, 0, 5, nothing. So you have to start to temper it based on that. And again, you have to practice writing down. First, you might want to just write down numbers before you learn symbols. Then you might want to practice only writing down symbols and then try to merge them so that you can then get the whole picture together. Okay, so are we in the 7s with this girl? Are people pretty okay with that? Good. Let's see if we have one more. I think we do.
What was your final score?
7.5 to 7.7. All right, here's one more. And let's watch her first. And then we'll judge it.
Bars, level 1, clip 8.
Okay, let's judge this time.
Bars, level 1, clip 8.
Okay, so she had some problems. So mostly her dismount. She started out pretty good. We had smaller deductions of body posture and legs apart of 05s and feet 05s, but and a little bit in knees, but it was mostly the dismount. Let's watch
Bars,
her.
level 1, clip 8.
Little rhythm, little body posture. And here's the problem, okay? We had 2 on the hop. She pulled her feet off the bar right away. She initiated the dismount. She probably missed a couple tenths of the value of the dismount for not riding it up and dismounting. We ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the actual dismount deduction, plus the 2/10 hop. So again, you're gonna like ballpark a little bit. What do you think happened? Did it happen so fast? You don't have time to react right then and say, okay, did I take off 2 for the value of the element not completed, but she did land on the ground. She did swing backwards. There are some confusing things about the value of the element, which is maybe a good time to say it right now, but we're going to talk about the score first. Our score range on her was 8.3 to 8.5. So better than the 7.577 girl. But if they do an element, we're going to go to level 3 next.
Linda,
Yeah,
can I interject here? Getting a
Yes.
few questions
Uh-huh.
online about the last 2
okay.
ones where someone was feeling like maybe the dismounts were the same if you're going to take a fall plus some
Come
on
up,
one.
yeah,
on
you could
both?
have. The girl that did the underswing, we felt did less of the dismount.
The
than
first
girl
girl
that-
did.
Yeah,
Okay,
that actually did, good question, the straddle on, swing backwards, she did more.
okay.
So that was why our score was a little different there on the dismount, couple tenths different.
Okay.
So that's my answer today, because we judged this in October, so I don't quite remember.
Uh-oh.
But I do have those notes, and I know the score range is right. So I was going to talk about the level 3. We're not there yet, but I'm thinking bars when they do a squat on. Level 3, they do squat on, jump off for their dismount. And many of the little girls will squat on, they get their feet on, but then they fall backwards off. And now if she gets back on the bar, we judge from the point of interruption because she's supposed to jump off towards the high bar. Well, what happens is they squat on, they get their feet on, but it's not complete because their shoulders are not over the bar. They're way back here. So she gets back up and she climbs on the bar to get there. Well, she never kind of finished that part of the squat on, and then she jumped off. So, okay, she probably is missing a little bit in the middle of that element, and we might take off a tenth there because of that part of the element wasn't completed. So we have to try to analyze the things that might happen and do your best job, because we're all going to make mistakes. And afterwards, we might have time to go look something up and realize I did that a little bit off. We're still in range. We have to keep the meat moving. So we're going to learn every single time we judge. So it's not easy. And this is going to be tough our first few meets. That's all I can say. So let's try some level 2 bars. We're going to do about 3 of those. Oh yeah, I'm already behind. Okay. Level 2 bars. So now level 2 bars.
What was your score range on the last one?
The last one was
8.3 to 8.5.
8.3 to 8.5.
Thank you.
Yep. And the one before was 4.75, 7.7. She had all the bent rates though. So let's watch this girl. We're going to watch her first, and then we'll go back and judge.
Level 2 bars, clip 2.
Okay. Let's try her again. This time write down some notes.
Level 2 bars, clip 2.
Well, there wasn't a lot wrong with that. It was pretty darn nice. We did not have any deductions on the glide swing. We had a tiny, maybe 0.5 of lack of extension in the front support or possible knee bends. So let's see if we can even
Level
see
2
that.
bars, clip 2.
See if we can see it. Let's stop her and move her. On the way back, her knees were just a tiny bit bent. And right there, a little tiny bit loose. Okay, and her arms get straight. She does the cast, which was good. We had no angle requirement.
There you go. You show the right buttons.
Back hip circle, little knees and a little pike. See that? Just a little. And a tiny bit of arms, maybe at 1/10 total. And then her underswing, she falls back pretty good. Has a little bit of amplitude, which is nice. She didn't just dump right off the bar. Her head was a little bit out of alignment and 1 on the landing. So our score range was 9.5 to 9.6. So that was a good example of this stuff. Let's watch her again to try to realize what nice looks like.
Level 2 bars, clip 2.
Minor knees. I don't know if it's those tights she has that makes her knees look a little bent.
No.
Okay, 9.5 to 9.6. Are we all thinking that's a good 9 routine? You know, that would be a good kind of model to start with that says, yes, that's supposed to look like that. Let's go to the next one.
Level 2 bars, clip
Just watch, and we'll watch it again to judge.
Same girl.
Yeah, same girl. Why does that look like, oh, I'm so sorry. That was the next one. Hello.
Linda, would you
Let's
have
try
taken,
this one.
Linda, on the last girl, would you have taken anything for her ears not being covered?
On the
Um,
dismount?
Actually, on the mount. I don't see a specific deduction for that.
No. I
Level
didn't
2
do that.
bars,
Okay.
Let's watch it. No, I think she's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
level 2 bars, clip 5.
Okay, now judge this time.
Level 2 bars, clip 5.
This is a teachable moment. All right, let's talk about what she did or didn't. Her mount, she kind of on the backswing of that glide, kind of slapped her feet on the ground. It was like she didn't quite complete the backward swing. We took a 1. We had a little lack of extension, and her head was not neutral on the glide. On the pullover, we had a little arm bend and lack of extension in her front support.
Level
Then,
2 bars, clip 5.
let's watch her here. Okay, little bent arms and then cast and under swing, but she didn't do the second cast. So the thing we want to take away from this is that, remember, the cast is a 4/10 element. So it's twice the value so it's 8. So that was an 8/10 deduction. So 2 times the value of what she didn't do. So there's 8/10 off of it. And then she did the back hip circle, which had a little bit of body position and not a neutral head, maybe a 10th-ish. And the underswing total was about a 1/10.5 on the underswing dismount. So the big thing for us to remember is when they do leave something out, it's double the value of the element. And our score range was 8.4 to 8.5.
Linda, I have a question here
Yes.
online.
Okay.
Somebody wants to know if you can discuss the different techniques for the extension of the glide, or she feels that there have been 3 different glide types with no deductions.
Yeah, okay, so what we're looking for in the glide swing is, let me back her up here to hers.
Level 2 bars, clip 5.
Talk. Let's look at her. Okay, we're looking for a total extension of the hips in the glide swing. So we have up to 2/10 for lack of extension. There should be, see how she never quite got all the way open. So that's up to 2. In optionals, it's only up to 1, but it's amazing how many kids in optional bars do not extend their glides. So we're trying to really teach that to them here. We're supposed to have some amplitude of the swing that her hips should kind of rise, but she just comes right back to there. So in her case, we took 1 to 1.5 for the knees and the lack of extension on this girl. So we have up to 2. So she lost 1 of the lack of extension in her kid. So there's different techniques that people do. Some people really want to see their whole body all the way extended, and some people have some kind of a shoulder angle into that kip, but we're really looking for the extension of their hips right now. And so just like in a long hang, when we get to long hang kips, we're going to have the same thing. We're going to be looking for that total extension before they bring their feet into kip up. So I hope that helps a little bit. We're going, oh, what happened? Oh my God, I have another routine. Okay, we're going to see one more girl on bars. And then we have to go to B. Now, okay, I need another disclaimer. You're going to see throughout all these routines that nobody pulls the springboard or the mounting block. This little girl is mounting on a wiggly crooked block, okay? Don't care today, okay? So just so you know, these were filmed a year ago with kids that could actually do what we wanted, and it wasn't all about just a meet. So she's going to mount on this wiggly thing, but that's okay. We're going to watch her.
Level 2 bars, clip 6.
That was good.
Did you ever feel like her legs were straight? They just always seemed a little bit. All right, let's go again in case you didn't write anything down.
Level 2 bars, clip 6.
This had a lot of teachable. Okay, so this one has something for us to remember. So first thing she did was had bent legs and didn't quite extend, and her head was kind of forward, but that wasn't the big deal. Her chin is on the bar. That's a flat 3. So that's, and little kids are going to do that. They're going to put their chin on the bar and pull over. So as you see that, that's a 3, and she has some bent legs, and look at her legs kind of flutter kick there. We have like 1 to 2 in legs. So that was something new that we hadn't seen yet. And then she gets up here, her legs are still bent, and body posture is not good. So we have 2 tenths in legs and body, and then cast, first cast, look at that. We got some legs and again, looseness. So we have 3 on the first cast. Then she has lack of control between the casts, so we took a 10. And she has the second cast, which still had leg form. And now she's going to do a back hip circle with, again, leg form and arms a little bent. So our total on the back hip circle was about 2.5 tenths. Now she's going to underswing. And let me get this here. Okay, she had the big hop of 2 tenths. We had a little bit on head and body posture and 1 on amplitude. So maybe almost 4 tenths off at dismount. Score range, 7.8 to 8.05. So mostly it was loose and bent, and then her chin was on the bar. That's a big 3. So that was a lot. So if you didn't see that chin on the bar, it's something to remind yourself of in the future. Okay, so now we're going to move on to B. See if I can find the papers. I have so many papers here. It's unbelievable. So we are gonna find level 1 beam. And level 2 beam. So a quick review, level 1 beam. We have a jump to front support mount, which is a 210 element. This was a question that came up at the workshop, so I thought I would share it. You know, they jump to front support, then they lift one leg up and they sit in the little stag sit thing. The actual mount, that's the 210 element, is just jump to a front support mount. Okay. The stuff they do afterwards isn't part of the mount. That's where you get into your little F's and P's and R's and things, not a deduction. They do the needle kick, which has to be continuous. Releve, balance stand in a lock, is an element of 2/10. The passe balance, 2/10 element. Stretch jump. The arabesque, remember, is only 30 degrees and then just have to mark it, or it's 05. Leg swings, cartwheel handstand, dismount is only a 3/4 handstand before they come down. So let's take a look at what we have on level 1 beam. Okay, first group. Let's just watch.
2, 1%, 1, 2, 3, and push, straight leg, that's on, and going, extend, armpits.
Turn off the noise. All right, let's walk through it and kind of talk through some of the deductions. We took 05 for lack of tightness in our front support. And then getting up there, we had a bent leg. When they do that needle kick, they're supposed to have us a nice pike with straight legs. Straight jump, lacking a little amplitude, could be tighter. Arabesque was okay. Kick, kick. Notice she's doing that little pose and she's pulling backwards, which is straight ahead really at this level. The dismount was plenty high for 3/4 handstand, but overall deductions that went by really fast. Feet not closed, oh, interlock. Okay, that was a text. So I'm going to talk about text a little bit because we have only up to 3 for everything that could go wrong. And this is a very short routine. So her text errors were minimal. We had a total of a 1/10 for all the text things she did wrong. But we don't even see them all because it goes by so fast. So we had a little bit in the V-sit. Let's go here. I'm not going to pick apart her text because I'm still learning it too. So here she goes in her V. She's getting up with her knee bent. She's supposed to show us that pike stand with both feet flat on the beam before she kicks. Then the leg kick could be a little higher. Her straight jump could have been bigger, feet, legs, shoulders, body posture. And then she does her kicks. And her head is out a little bit at the beginning of the handstand. We still felt that was a 9-0 kind of routine. It was like a 8-9 to a 9-05 kind of routine. We had 05 in quality of movement. We had 1/10 in overall body posture. We had 05 on those kicks, each one. Other than that, we didn't have a lot. So we ended up with a 9.0. So we're learning. I think we're all gonna get tighter. We're all gonna have more execution errors, or not execution, text errors as we move forward. But we're doing the best we can right now. Let's try another girl. See if you can write some things down.
Okay, present 1, 2, 3. On support. Good. Straight legs.
Oops, you're not supposed to
And
listen.
back. Point.
There. Oops. Okay, for her, we had overall kind of like body posture errors throughout almost every step she had. So body, little piece for posture, and feet throughout. We had text errors of a 10th to 10th and a half. We had some foot issues, and we had some arms, and then she kind of screwed up that little, oops, wait, back up, right here. When she does her little V-sit, and then she gets up here, and she was supposed to go to there, and so we took a 10th off in there. And now she's going to have a saggy back. She does the passe. Straight jump needed more stretch in the body posture. We had a 10th and a half. The arabesque she did hold. It was marked. It was okay. The kick, maybe 05s. Again, a little text error there. And she puts her knee down. That's not in the routine. So we took a 10th there because she knelt. Is that a word? Knelt. And then she did the handstand 3/4 close. We had about overall 1.1 in execution. We had 1.5 for text. We had 05 for feet. And we had 05 to 1 for overall body posture. So we came in at around an 8.6 to an 8.8 score. Still okay. Let's try one more. Okay. Let's look at her. We'll watch her. You can judge her first, and then we'll go through the other one.
Present 1, 2, 3. Front support.
Okay. What do we think about her? Better or worse?
Better.
Like way better, cleaner, nicer, tighter, minor errors that she had. And text errors, we had 05. So it was really minimal, and you can see how the text errors really don't add up too much of anything unless they totally screw something up. Our score range was 9.35 to 9.4. So let's just kind of enjoy what she does again. She had just a little balance on her way up. A little tight or loose leg, and when she did her little kick. I'm sure there's a little arm text error in there somewhere. The jump was pretty good. The arabesque is fine. The kicks were nicely done. 4 starch, could have been a little bigger, and then our handstand was fine. So we only had, everything that we took off was like 1/10 or less in the whole routine. So 9.35 to 9.4. If you were in the 9s, you're doing the right thing. I don't think it was 9.6, but it should be right up there. Okay, we are going to look at, no, I don't know, let's see what this girl is. No, we're gonna skip her, because we're going to do level 2B. What I'd like you to see is this little girl who actually does, oh, never mind, I'm not gonna say what she does. Let's watch her first, because this is our first level 2, and then we'll go back and write down some notes. She does have to get to a handstand on her dismount, not 3/4 handstand. She has a single leg kick up to a stand, the passe balance, not in passe, stretch, jump, arabesque, forward leg swing, swing, pivot turn in high releve, and then the dismount. So here she goes. Okay. All right. Turn that off. All right, now I can just go through this so that we can read what it was we deducted. It was a pretty nice routine, but she still had some lacking. In the mount, we took a 10 for rhythm because she kind of adjusted herself a little bit there. She has a little balance here. She's supposed to show us that, and it's just a kick up to the handstand. Let's back up here once and show this. Right here, she's supposed to have her heels down when she does that pike stand. And then the releve, she did that in passe. Her leg was maybe a little off. Let's back up to that too. I thought her passe was okay. Straight jump. Okay, she did the lock. She omitted a small part there, which I would have missed. Back up and look at her arabesque. I thought that was 1 second. Did you think that was 1 second? I thought it was okay. Dismount. It looked like she might have been a little short of vertical. We did have 2/10 for vertical and a little body posture. So we had about 4/10 on the dismount, which was hard to see from this angle. But that little girl had overall body posture of 110 because her shoulders were kind of in her ears all the time, and 0 to 05 in text ears. So score range was around the 8.5. So I think it maybe could have been a little bit higher myself because I might have missed a few things, but it was still a really nice example of what she could do. Let's watch another girl. Yes.
Score range.
8.5-ish. Yep. 8.5 to 8.6. Text 05, body posture 110. And we didn't have any additional like rhythm or anything. I want to keep them low, but that's just me. All right, new girl, let's judge her, see what's different.
Level 2B, clip number 9.
All right, let's watch her again. She had pretty nice form throughout. Her mount was good. She didn't have a deduction there. When you do the little V-sit, she didn't really do that little pike stand, which was a 1/10 deduction for omitting a small part. See right there, she didn't do that. So we took that off for a 10. And her arms, let's back up because now we're in the mode about the arms by the ears. She doesn't have her ears covered right here. So we had 05. Problem right there. No stretch jump. So the stretch jump is valued at a 4/10 element. So that deduction would be 8. Yeah, she kind of just went through the motions. Okay, this little girl, you're going to see a lot of every level, so I'm sure she was just confused. So, okay, so we have no stretch jump. And then she's going to do her air vest. Let me keep her going. Oh, we missed it. Backward. We felt that she did not hold her Arabesque 1 second. We took 05. Kicks were okay. Pivot turn was pretty good. Something about the pivot turns too that we want to be aware of. I'm going to back it up and show us the pivot turns because this is going to come in on every level that has a pivot. Is the pivot turns are supposed to be done with their legs very close together. Right there, she's pretty good at that. In high releve, when we have up to 1 for not being in high releve. And the dismount. Arms didn't look like they were quite by her ears coming in. 05, 0 to 05. Maybe you thought they were fine. So this girl, our score range was down around the 8.7, and had it not missed the stretch jump, it would have been a really good score. So add 8/10 on to 8.7. So then you're in the 9s. So it was a good example. But unfortunately for us, we are judging multiple levels in every single meet, almost every day and every session. So it's going to be easy for us to miss something. And that's why there's 2 of us. So somebody, oh, she didn't do stretch jump. Oh, I totally forgot. So we have to help each other out there so we can stay on top of things, because it's very easy to screw that up. Okay, I think we have one more beam routine. And then.
And they could inquire that as a compulsory routine, right? Since the stretch jump
Oh, yeah.
was missing?
Yeah.
Is that something that's inquirable?
Absolutely. That's acquirable. Yep. Because it's a major element. And so they could inquire. They wouldn't know we took off for no stretch jump, and maybe the coach wasn't watching.
But
thought
8/10
she
might
did
be
it.
something eye-catching where he goes, you know, gosh, she normally scores a 9.5.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so they're going to ask, and that would be, did she get credit for all her major elements? That should be what the coach asks, because that's legitimate in an inquiry. And we don't in compulsory put up a start value. So they don't know, like, wait a minute, she always gets a 9.4, now she got 8.7. What happened And there we would be able to explain that. So, yeah, and that's certainly legit, I think. Okay, one more, beam routine. Oh, this might be fun. Okay, let's watch this one and judge it.
Let's rock it.
Rock it. Nice. Rock it. Okay. Okay.
Rocked it.
She rocked it. Yeah. All I can say is we didn't have much off. So we had a 9-9. It was beautiful. It had everything that we
9-9.
could. 9-9.
I remember she's a level 10, so.
Exactly. She probably is at least a level 8 or 9 doing this. But it's just a really nice example of good stretch, good amplitude, good feet. If you wanted to nitpick, you could maybe find something on the pivot turn, maybe. But I just think it's worth watching one more time, just for our enjoyment. And if you saw some little knees, now here's the problem that we have as judges. When we see something really good, it's real easy to nitpick her apart that you didn't on all the others. So, you know, that happens. And so it's like they stick out more, her little teeny weeny errors. And so it's okay to have 0 off when you see something that is that nice. So her pivot turner legs were maybe a little bit too far apart. Okay. It looked like her ears were covered on the dismount. Maybe if you were on the other side of the beam, you wouldn't have thought so, and you might have that full 5 off of there. But pretty much we thought that was great. So
I have a couple of
I
questions.
have a
for you.
question on the dismount. Oh, sorry, you go first, whoever was speaking.
What is the texture?
Let's back up to it. Is that after? That would be a text here, yes.
And then, okay, to bend the arms on the way down on the dismount. Question.
Did she do that? We just said possibly, yeah, well, it could be a deduction. Let's go look at her dismount.
Maybe that was that half a tenth you took.
You know what? I don't have a problem with her arms on the dismount. Does anybody else? I mean, she was vertical with straight arms, and she's coming down next to the beam. Well, she'd have to be pushing away from the beam. That's a good question. I'm going to write it down, and we'll find that out. We only had 05s, and we only had possibly 05 for arms, not by the ears going in. Other than that, we had a lot of good feet, and then maybe the pivot turner legs were a little bit too far apart. So, okay, we are going to, oh my gosh, spending a lot of time. We are going to watch floors. We're going to do a couple of floors on level 1 and 2. Then we're going to take a break. Now, I don't know if we want to do lunch then, or if we want to do level 3 and then have lunch. I don't know. We'll see when we're done. This is the demonstrator girl doing one of the floor routines for level 1, so we can have a guideline to go by. And so we'll enjoy her. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Perfect. Eyes up. Eyes up.
Okay, so very cute, very straightforward. Not a lot of text problems because it's just one skill, next skill, and she's done. So let's watch girl number one. Now that little girl had very little wrong. So what I would say is that a lot of the kids have problems, not problems, but they tend to do the backward roll with their legs too tight. It's a tuck roll. The forward roll, they tuck. The backward roll, they tend to want to pike a little bit. So we might have a little deductions in there. And I've seen that as we looked at some of these. So that was my observation. Let's watch girl number one. Make any notes you can think of. You're walking right in front of you. Okay, you know when those coaches walk right in front of you when you're judging? Well, that just happened. Okay, now this is the first one we're judging, so let's pick her apart right away. So we're gonna first look at the cartwheel and see if she has her head in, which she doesn't, in or out. So notice she went in with her head out and she came out with her head up first and not her arms by her ears. So 0.5 each side, and we also had feet. So we can look back at that just a little bit. That is out, that is out. Feet, backward roll, not quite enough squat. Candlestick, gets up without her hands, that's good. She a little text there with arms. Little archy head is out, and that's it. So we didn't have a lot of deductions. We're at our 9.4 range, so it was pretty good. So we had a 10th and a half on the cartwheel, 5 to 1 on the tuck shape of the backward roll. The passe was a little iffy, 0.5. Her lock, maybe a footwork deduction or footwork note. Releve on her half turn could have been a little higher. Handstand was okay, maybe a little body, or the straight jump, I'm sorry. And then the forward roll was okay. And then we don't want them to use their hands to get up from the forward roll, remember that. And then the handstand at the end, a little bit of head out. So 9.4-ish, maybe 0 to 0.5 footwork throughout because I only had one F written down. And text maybe 0.5 for a couple of hand positions. So are we good in a 9 with her? She actually looked like she might be a level 1 or 2 or 3, not a teenager.
Level 1.
Okay, let's try another.
Level 1 for 3.
Kind of far away. Okay, similar to the first girl. Okay, good, still in the 9s, not, anything major wrong, but it's the subtle little things. It's the head head out a little bit on the cartwheel coming up. She didn't, she did more of a pike backward roll. We took a whole one there, maybe 0.5. The lock could have had a little tighter with the legs. That was an F. A little body posture. Chasse, okay. On the chasses, we're gonna watch. These are forward chasses at this level, but we still want to see them closing in the air together, not just kicking her feet forward in the chasse. We want the chasses to rise. The straight jump, maybe a little body posture. We're still at a 9.35 to 9.45 on her. 0.5 for feet. And we had an 0.5 on the head out on the handstand at the end. So text maybe 0.5. So similar to the other girl, but we had to take what we could get with the films that we got. So it would have been nice to have one that was a little bit different. We're gonna look at one more. This little girl, again. So we'll see if she does something different.
Level 1 to 11.
Okay. What'd you think about that?
Is she getting better?
That was another one that was just that teachable moment that, you know, little kids forget things and they do things weird. And she did a round off instead of a cartwheel. Double the value, 1.2. Okay. So we had that. We had the same backward roll issue where it was not tucked enough. The candlestick, I think her knees might have been slightly bent. Her legs were too far apart in the pivot turn attempt. Chasse, I had a 10.5. Straight jump 0.5 and her head on the handstand at the end. So we're looking at low 8. Yes.
What happens if you have a little girl who does the elements but does them all out of
In the
order?
wrong direct, yeah, you only take it one time that they're out of order, but you can't, yeah, you can't switch, like she did the handstand first and then the cartwheel later.
Yeah.
You can't, you gotta take each one of them, you take off that value of that element.
So you would take off the value of each element?
Yeah,
Double?
yeah, I mean, I actually had to look that up. Where's my floor papers?
That's where the coach gets up and goes alongside the floor.
That's what?
That's where the coach gets up and does it alongside the floor.
Absolutely, just do it right next to it. You know what I mean?
Isn't changing a major element just the
The
value?
value of the element. She didn't. Well, she did change it. I have to find my general penalties. Anybody have their generals right in front of them?
She's got him right here.
Okay, read that for us.
Changing a major element is the value of. the
Yes, she didn't omit it. She changed it to something else. So that would be 6, not 12. Right?
Correct.
Okay.
I've never
So the
seen that happen.
1.2 would not be appropriate. It would be 6 plus
I've never seen that happen.
all the other little
No,
things
no, no,
that
she
she did
changed
wrong.
the whole,
So she would have been 6, 7,
got everything out of order.
maybe around an 8, 6, 6 type.
This one?
4, 8, 6, 8, 8-ish. So those are some level ones. Remember, this is our first practice, so all of us might make mistakes.
Somebody would like to see that routine again.
Should we watch it again? Sure. Sure we can. Okay, that is not it. This one.
Level 1 to 11.
She knows how far her feet were apart in the pivot turn. That was kind of an emphasis that the authors made. So we do want to recognize that. All right, we are going to go do a couple level 2s and then probably have lunch again. So let's watch this sample so we have something to compare it to. Because it's probably good.
Elbows, elbows. Beautiful. High skirts. Curtains. Front leg low, front leg low. Curtains. Nice. Beautiful. Smart. The shoe was a little early and then you just showed it. That was smart.
That
You
was
do not have to go down.
smart. I have to go back. So that was a nice example of the level 2 floor. So a little longer, a little more meat in this than in the level 1, but still we have the cartwheel. We want to see the head in line. The backward roll now is to the push-up position. So we want to see that extension with their arms straight, land in the nice tight plankish position. The passe, forward turn and passe. Then we need, you notice both the leap and split jump had uneven legs, that girl. So probably we're going to see more of that. And the handstand with the arms by the ears, and then the bridge where they kick over. The ones that have the bridges, and also level 3 has a bridge, handstand to bridge, kick over. We want to see the shoulders get over the hands and then kick over. Not in the big rounding bridge. We want to see them pressing their shoulders over their hands before they kick over. All right, so here's girl number 1. Make some notes.
Level 2 floor, clip 11.
Typical. So let's talk about that. Oh, well. Okay, so she had some problems with that flow routine. Hopefully we're noticing now how she did her cartwheel at the beginning. Her head was coming out at the end. We had 05. She did a back extension roll instead of a backward roll. So that was 6/10. So they're not supposed to go in the vertical range. So we took that, plus we had some arms and legs in there. So she lost a bundle on the back extension, or sorry, backward roll. The passe forward, she needed to mark a little bit more, and the half turn, we had no heel drop. She's supposed to mark and drop the heel and then move forward. Forward chasse, we took amplitude on a slight leg bend going into like a little stag, 05. Handstand, hold 1 second, arms were not by the ears coming out, candlestick, then the bridge. Okay, so the bridge, she had the extra kick was 3/10 for that extra kick over. We had a little bit of arms not by her ears coming out, and maybe the shoulders not quite over the hands also. So our score range was 7.9 to 8.2. But let's watch her again to just point out those things that we want to be aware of.
11.
And again, it's not about text, it's about those elements. Notice her head out there. And there's that. Woo! So you had the 6/10 for the wrong element. You had the saggy body and the bent arms. So she really lost a lot on that backward roll. Her chassé was a poor attempt at rising, closing the legs at the top with pointed feet. That's where we had 2/10 on the chassé. That was pretty good. Watch her head again, coming out first. So she had the extra kick here, but she also needed to push those shoulders over farther. She still ended with the music, that was good. So low 8, 7.9 to 8.2. Hopefully we're all down there. We are gonna do one more. Okay, we're gonna do a question.
On the leaps, does it matter if their arms are out or up?
Like side middle, well, on the leaps, I believe we have those different options of arms in the leaps. Somebody could probably check that for me. But if it's side middle, they can be pressed back a little, that's okay. Whenever it says side middle, they can be here or they can push back a little.
Okay,
But
just not up.
right. And I would double check though, the text on the leaf to say that the arms have to be here, but usually they could be here or they could be here. So there's options. I just don't know that right now until I look at it. Okay, let's see. This girl is not her. This one. Let's watch her.
Level 2 floor, clip 4.
Arms can be in any one of the three.
Thank you. That's what I thought. The arm positions in the leaf, they can choose. Okay, would you call this routine fair, good, or really good?
Really good.
Really good, yes. Let's enjoy her one more time and talk about her minor errors that she had.
Level 2 floor, clip 4.
We're gonna look for her arms by her ears coming out of the cartwheel. We're gonna look for her feet and knees in the backward roll. Little looseness. Lagarella Bay. Little amplitude on the chassé. Jump was good. Could have held that a little longer. Look for arms by the ears, head came up a little soon. That's nitpicking, but we were at a 9.5. So, question.
Would you have taken anything off of the candlestick?
Let's back up and look at it. I don't have anything off on it. But let's look at it again just to make sure. Nope. So, stop. Okay, flat hips, roll back, you know, get the feet pointed to vertical. If they can't get all the way up there, then I would have amplitude, but otherwise no. And I thought her hips were flat and she rolled up fine. And her arms could be up or they could be down, either way.
Would you have taken anything on that cartwheel?
On the cartwheel, at the beginning, I took 0.5 for her head out when she came up, but that's all we have done. And you know what, there might have been a foot flex or something, but I don't have that. And, you know, probably in real life, you're gonna do things a little differently than we are on video. Video is never like live. So, you know, we do it, and now we can back up and watch it again and do it in slow motion. And so just remember, that made me think what you said about the cartwheel, which is about the leaps. These girls that did their leaps were pretty good and their jumps were pretty good. And remember, in real life, you see their split angle, which these were way more split than what was required. But when you stop and watch in slow motion, the split angles are always bigger than what your naked eye can tell. So you kind of have to realize that. And these girls had really nice jumps and leaps. Actually, the demonstrator girl, hers were worse than these. So we were at a 9.5 on this girl. Does anybody have any other comments about level 1 or 2? And this was like the first time we really discussed these routines since they were all taught. So I'm sure there's going to be things that we're all going to learn as we go forward. Do you want to, Susan, should we stop for lunch? It's 12 o'clock.
That would be good.
Okay.
That would be good.
And then we're going to come back and do level 3, all events, at least a couple of each. And then we're going to start merging into 4 o'clock. How long are we having for lunch? An hour?
We have an hour for lunch, so I'd send everybody out a list of various restaurants. If you brought your lunch in, go ahead and eat here. So you have some choices. There's some park benches right outside if you want to go sit at a picnic table.
Right.
Yeah, it's not raining. So just be back by 1 if you would, please. That would be great.
Thank you, everybody, for your attention so far.
Hey, Linda, Vicki weighed in and was saying that because we're doing it this way, we're photographing a photograph basically. Is there some way that we can share your screen and eliminate a middleman, so to speak? Is Brant still here?
He went to lunch and be back.
Okay. Well, eat your lunch and then. Oh, I haven't. You know what? I haven't. Let me, because we're going to start over with the new one. So I'm actually going to end this one.
Yeah, I would.